All right, so thank you for joining me for this grammar clinic session, because today we're going to have session number 13, where we're going to be learning the secrets of spelling. Okay, so by the end of this session, hopefully it will be clearer about how we spell in English, and we will look at some patterns which we can use in order to improve that. Right, so the things we're going to cover today. So as you can see on the screen, we're going to be looking at using double letters and when we use them. We're going to look at using word families to help us to know how we spell something. We'll also think about word origins, the etymologies, in order to know how to spell. We'll look at some general rules about spelling, and also look at some common prefixes and suffixes that we have in English. So let's begin then. So welcome to all of our spellers here today, and we're going to uncover some hidden patterns which will help us in future. The first secret we're going to have a look at is double letters. Okay, so these can appear a lot of time in English, and I imagine it can be quite difficult to know sometimes. Do we use double letters? Do we not use double letters? Well, hopefully this is going to make some things clearer. If we look at this on the left, we can see sometimes double letters show that the vowel before them is pronounced as a long sound. So if we look at the examples, we've got the word here, fool. Okay. If there was only one O, then it would be fol or foal. But because we have the double letter, we know that we need to use a long sound. Okay, so instead of fol, it becomes fool. Okay. For the next one, seen, the double letter changes it from sen to seen. Sen to seen. And the last one, we have the word root, again, with a double letter. If there was one letter, if there was one O, it would be rot. But because we have the two letters, it changes it from R to U. So it would become root. So that is one little way that it can help us. Okay. Another thing, double letters can indicate that a word should be divided into syllables. So syllables are those units of sound which are separated. So my name is Kieran, so that has two syllables, Kieran, Kieran. Double letters can help us to understand how many syllables a word should have. Okay. So they often help us to show where one syllable ends and another one begins. In the word committee, the double M can help us to show that we need to have a separation between com and mit, committee. Okay. The double letter in beginner, because we have double N, that tells us there should be a split in the syllable there, so it should be beginner. And the last one, we have the word syllable as well. The double L tells us that it needs to be split, so it becomes syllable. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, I understand.
Good, good. So that leads us to an activity now. So it tells us, look closely at the double letters. Which words are spelled correctly, and then we need to complete the sentences with them. So we've got two words, successful, successful. One of them is spelled correctly. We've got parallel and parallel. One of them is spelled correctly. And lastly, accommodate and accommodate. Only one of them is correct. So what you will tell me, Maria, is which spelling is correct and which word goes in which sentence. Okay.
The yellow color is in the first sentence.
Okay, so you think this one goes here. Good, good. Okay, this one, the two roads run.
I think the first one, the blue one.
You think the blue one. Okay, and what do you think for the last one?
It's very like everything that is very complicated because I felt so sick.
I
felt so
I think it's the second one.
The gray one, yeah?
Yes, the gray.
Oh, all right. Okay. So I can tell you you have 2 out of 3 correct. All right. Do you want to change any of your answers?
No, because I checked how many syllables I have.
Syllable.
Syllable, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, what I can tell you is you have first 2 are correct. So it was that one there, so successful. And the second one was parallel, like that. And I understand what you tried to do with the last one. Because it had double D, you were thinking that's where you split the sound. But the correct answer here was the black one, accommodate. Accommodate. Accommodate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we notice we have the double letter for suk. Okay, because we go from suk to ses. So we need a different letter for each sound. Suk for a C, but ses with a C as well, a different one. Okay. Also success always finishes with 2 S's. Okay. All right. So parallel we know, and then accommodate, very difficult one to remember, 2 C's and then 2 M's. Now, let's move on to the next one. Let's have a look at some spelling generalizations that we can think of. So there are some rules. There are always exceptions to the rules. There can be hundreds of rules to remember. So here we're just looking at the most common ones. Now, spelling generalizations are helpful. Okay, they're kind of like shortcuts that can help us to write correctly, but they don't always work. Okay, so the most famous ones we're going to look at are the silent E, the sound of the letter Y, and whether we use C or K for some words. So the first one we're going to look at is the silent E rule. Now, when a word has a silent E at the end of it, it often changes the sound of the vowel that comes before it. So if we first of all take this word here, so this word here is made. But let's imagine there was no E on it. How would we say this word without the E, Maria?
Mad.
It would be mad. It would be mad. Good. But if we add the E on, it changes it to?
Made.
Very good. Very good. So it can often help if you think about the sound of the word that can help you with the spelling of the word. Okay, so it goes from A to A, mad to made. Now the next one, we have the word bite, but if we remove the E, how would we say it?
Bit.
It would be bit. And if we add the E, it is?
Bite.
It is bite. Okay, so by adding the E, it changes the sound. So if we know the sound, we can know the spelling. And then the last one, we have hope. But if we remove the E, we say it how?
Hop.
It is hop.
Hop.
Hop. And if we add the E, it is?
Hope.
It is ho. Very good. So again, if we know that it has, if we know that it makes a longer sound, then we know that it needs an E at the end of it. Okay, Maria, can you think of any more examples like that?
I'm trying.
It's quite difficult to think about them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah, it's a bit spontaneous. Well, if I give you an example. Okay, so what is this? Oh, it's quite not a very good. Oh, well, I was going to say that.
A snake. No.
So that would be
Ah, it's a hat. Yeah.
okay. And
Yes.
then
You can change with hate.
and then it would be hate. Very good. Okay, so if we know that the sound is like A, we know that it should have the E at the end. If it is a short sound, then it would be hat without the E.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Okay, so that is the silent E rule. Now it is looking at the sound of the letter Y. Okay, so for the sound of the letter Y, if it is at the end of the word, usually it has either like I or it has the E sound. Okay, so if it is in this example here, this is cry, it has I, but with this word it would be E, funny, funny. Okay, so we need to be careful when we think about this, but if we know the sound of the word, then we know that if it is an E or an I, it should be a Y at the end of the word. Okay, can you think of any more words that have this I sound at the end with the letter Y?
Try.
Okay, good. And any other words where it would have the E sound with a Y?
Lovely.
Lovely, lovely, happy, things like that. Good. Yeah, good work. Good work, Maria.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, for the next one, it is whether we use C or we use K. Okay, so this rule that we're going to look at helps us to know whether we use C or K at the beginning of a word. So we use the letter K after a single short vowel sound, either E, I, or Y, and C in other cases to spell the K sound. All right. So if we look at the example, so if we have a K, we need to have the sound like E, I, or Y afterwards. So if we look at the examples over here, we've got the K letter, and we have like the E that would match with that sound, or if it is I like that, it would match that sound. In all the other situations, we use the letter C to make the sound. Okay, so if it is E, I, or Y, we use the K. If it is any other situation, we use the letter C. Okay. So if it is like an A, we use the C. If it's any other letter like L, something like that, then we use C as well. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. The pronunciation for the first letter.
Yeah, yeah.
It will change
Mhm.
the pronunciation for all old.
Yeah, yeah, very good, very good. Because we do know that the letter C can also give the sound of like an S as well. So we just need to understand if we are not using S and it is a sound, do we use a C or do we use a K? Good. Okay, so we're going to test those skills now in this next activity here. So it gives you some words, but there's a bit of a problem. Some silly sausage has put the letters in the wrong order. Okay, so we've got a word here that has D, E, G, L, I, but all of the letters are in the wrong position. So we need to think about what word it could be, and they help us by telling us the meaning of the word underneath. Okay, now I always find these very difficult to do, but maybe you are really good at these and help us. So do you have any ideas for this first one where it is D-E-G-L-I, Degli? How could we move the letters around so the word means to move smoothly and effortlessly?
Try. I'm trying.
Uh-huh.
Let
If you need a little bit of help, the first letter is G.
Okay. Gilded. Gilded? No, I don't know.
No? All right. Okay, right, that's all right. We can come back to that one. Now, I think we should be able to get the next one. So it is LACEM, and it means a long-necked desert animal with a hump on its back. Okay, so you're looking for an animal that has a hump on its back.
Yeah, but I don't know the name.
You're not
The second one. The second one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The- No, no, maybe I don't know name for.
All right, that's no
Sorry,
problem.
sorry.
Well, what would be the name in your language?
But I don't know the. I don't understand what animal is.
Okay, all right. Maybe that's just a very bad
Sorry.
picture by me.
Is it from water, from sea, or?
No, so it should be in the desert.
Uh-huh. Like
Uh,
it's not a octopus with anything else.
No,
Octopus
no.
is in water.
Yeah. So if you imagine somewhere in the desert, in the Sahara, something like
Yeah.
that, what animal could it be?
Camel.
Well, does it fit the letters? C, A, M, E, L. It does.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay,
Thank
so we'll give you a little clap emoji there. Well done. Well done. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so what about, so we got that one correct. Well done. What about this next one? CAYNF. It means not plain, elaborate, or expensive.
It's not expensive. Okay.
Oh, so it's
Not plain.
so it is expensive. It's not plain. All right, maybe I just remove that part just so it makes more sense. So it means something is elaborate or something is expensive.
Safin? No, no.
No, no. Okay, we're not sure about this one. All right, and
Finance? No, because I don't have finance.
yeah, we don't have enough letters for that one. That's okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
need an N.
All right, we're not sure about that one, so we'll come back to that later. But what about the last one? So you've got the letters A, P, L, E, T, a round, flat dish we use to hold food.
We
So,
have fork, spoon, but for food we put a plate. Plate.
plate. So B, L, A. Okay, so that is correct as well. Good work. So really, we just need to find the answers for the other two. So we can find out that for Degley, it was to glide.
The glide. Yeah. Glide.
To move smoothly and effortlessly. Okay, so we've got the E at the end. So that tells us that the I needs to be a long sound. So instead of I, it would be I. So glide. And for this one, you told us that it was camel.
Camel.
All right, good. So it comes before the letter A, so we use a C instead of a K. The other words, so we had this one here, CAYNF, which meant expensive or something like that. The word is fancy.
Fancy. Yeah, fancy.
Okay? So it is expensive or elaborate, and it is not a regular thing. We would say it is fancy.
Yes.
And the last one we had was plate, as you suggested. Good.
In my country, we say Camila. It's the same.
Okay,
It's similar.
it's very close. Yeah, it's good. All right. Do you have any of the other words like glide, fancy, plate
P-
in your language?
fancy. Fancy is plăcut.
Okay. All right. Very different.
It's like nicely, like it's special, something special. It's it's
Yeah.
not.
You go out for a special meal, a fancy meal. Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
only for special, special event.
Yeah. Special occasions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. All right. Excellent. So let's now move on.
I don't know.
So the next thing we're going to think about is morphology. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't know what this word means, but it's when you can find like the basic form of the word is similar to other words. So if we look here, we've got the word vision, visible, and invisible. Okay? So what it says here, what do these words have in common? Vision, visible, and invisible.
The way he writes are pretty.
We have
Yes, his writing style.
four letters.
He is a.
Yeah. So they all have V-I-S-I. Yeah, V-I-S-I and V-I-S-I. So the idea is that if they have the same letters in the same place, then you probably say them in the same way and you spell it in the same way as well. So vision is connected to your eye. Yeah? Visible means that you can see something, and invisible means the opposite, that you cannot see something. So they are all connected together by the same concept. They all have the same spelling. So it becomes a lot easier if you remember that rule in future. Okay, good. All right. So this leads us into the next part then, which is called word families. Okay. So words that come from the same family, like this, of vision, visible, and invisible, they all have the same root, so that helps them all to have the same meaning and the same spelling. So, like it tells us here, they all have the morpheme vis, which comes from the Latin word videre, which means to see. Okay. Do you have this in your language? In your language, do you have this the same one?
In our language is vedere. How is here videre, but in my language is vedere.
All right. Okay, so
Because Latin is it was before my language. We have
okay.
some words from Latin.
Yeah, excellent. And English does a little bit, but not as much as your language.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So that can often help you, especially if the word in English has some Latin roots, then the way you would spell it in your language could help you to spell it in English as well.
Yeah.
All right. So if we think about these then, so we had the word vision. So that root word vis from videre means the idea of seeing or the ability to see. Then in the next one, all right, so when we add able at the end, it takes us from vis to visible, and that means that you are able or capable of doing something. So it is visible means capable to see. And then invisible, we use the prefix in, which talks about the opposite. So it means that something cannot be seen, something cannot be looked at. All right. So does that make a lot of sense to you, Maria?
Yeah, this has sense. This is sense, and because in my country is similar. It's close because visible, and invisible.
Okay.
It's easy word for me.
All right. So you come here, you're like, oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah. Visible, invisible.
All right.
Visible, yes.
Okay. So this is a little shortcut for you in English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Now, for the next one, maybe this is the same in your language, maybe not, but we are going to look at prefixes and suffixes.
Yeah.
Okay. So prefix is when we add something to the start of a word in order to change it a little bit. A suffix is when we add something to the end of a word in order to create a new word as well. All right. So, like in that last activity, we had in, which is a prefix. It comes at the start and it tells us like the opposite of something. So, can you think of any more prefixes?
Re,
Sorry, well,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
because our grammar in my country is the same.
Okay. Again, you're very lucky here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We use the same prefixes and suffixes in our country.
Okay. Good. Good. Good.
But maybe I don't know very too much in English because I need to know words.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
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 Well,
Like.
you thinking about prefixes and suffixes, it will help us to spell these words more in future. Right?
Yeah.
And can you give me an example of a suffix there? What comes at the end of a word? Like I can give the example from the other
Able,
one.
able.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Uh, depends. Maybe we can say when change in plural, no.
Well, no, that is a good point. Yeah, like adding an S or something would make
Yeah,
it a
S
suffix.
or ES. Yeah.
Or yes, or things like child, children. Yeah,
Maybe.
it is.
Or maybe we have. I don't know.
Or, for example, in what situation?
I don't know. Why.
No, it would work.
Institution.
Yes.
Institution.
Yeah. Very good.
Institute, institution.
Yeah, excellent. So things like TION, these are examples.
Yes.
Very good. Well done.
Maybe
Ronald.
CI on N.
Yeah. Like information or things like that.
Instructions.
Yeah. Well done. Okay. It seems like you know a lot about this. So this is good. Well done. Good. So there's some examples of some prefixes. There are lots of prefixes in English, 20, 30, 40, who knows? But here we've just got 4 examples. So I think you mentioned "an" before, yeah? So "an" tells us something is not, or it is the opposite of something. So happy, unhappy, likely, unlikely, they tell us the opposite point for this. Okay. Did you also mention "re" before as well? Did you say
Yes.
that one?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this gives us the idea of again, or going back to the start of something. So play, replay, return,
Research.
research. Okay, yeah, good. All right. Or you need to resubmit an assignment. Something like that. Good. All right. So then we have pre. So pre tells us something that comes before. So we have here preview, to view something before. It can be, well, it could be for anything, like a pre-meeting, a pre-operation, things like this. Okay.
Yeah.
So they all tell us something that comes before something else. And lastly, we've got miss. So miss tells us that something is not correct or something is not fully understood or something like that. So misunderstand is to not correctly understand someone or to make a mistake. Again, it says that something is wrong or incorrect.
Yeah, so what time is your
Can
train?
you think of any others that begin with miss that give us the idea of incorrectness?
Basically, I've got to get the train I normally get in the work, but that's only like 25 minutes.
Yeah, I know the words. I know.
Mhm,
I mean, I could get here.
mhm.
Misunderstanding. I don't know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You got a long day.
It could be misspelled. If you spell something correctly, it can be misspelled, mispronounced. Yeah. Yeah, like you have pronounced something wrongly, you can mispronounce.
Been told that I'll have to
Okay.
go in and-
I didn't know what this we can use for many words.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's maybe more than you can even imagine there. So
Yeah.
those are our prefixes, or some prefixes you can use. Now for the suffixes.
I think I'll have time.
So we can use er. Okay. So this can tell us like a job or an occupation. You know, teach, teacher, build, builder, paint, painter. And also, er can also tell us that something is comparative. It is more. Okay, fast, faster, slow, slower, old, older, young, younger. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Able gives us the idea that you are able to do something, or it is able to be something. So comfort, comfortable. Something is able to give us some comfort. Sellable means that you are able to sell the thing. Another easy one is FUL, full, and this tells us that someone or something is full of something or something else. So joyful, it means you are full of joy. Beautiful means that you are full of beauty. And the last one, LY. So this is an adverb that tells us how you do an action. So if you do something quickly, you have done it in a quick way. If it is happily, somebody did something in a happy way. Does that all make sense for you though, Maria?
Yes. Yes.
Good, good. Right, on to the next thing then. So the last thing that we've got here are word origins. So word origins can often show how words are formed and how they have actually evolved over time. So if we think about the origin of the word, we can also imagine its meaning if we know one of these other languages. So we've looked at Latin before. In English, it can also be from Greek or from French or from German or something like that. So if you know the other word in the other language, that can help you in English as well. So if we consider the word automobile, okay, if we remember in Greek, auto means self. It is related to something doing itself or done by itself. Okay.
Yeah.
And also the idea of mobile, this is the idea of something moving. So if we put it together, something moves itself, it would be an automobile or a car, as we would say. Okay. But this helps us with other things as well. Auto, like autograph. That would mean, self-design, to design something yourself. Your autograph is your own way of writing, for example. Okay.
Just get splintered every few days.
So we've looked at those little secrets that we've looked at. So we've talked about the double letters, talked about the general rules that we can use. We've mentioned how we can use the silent E sound to make a vowel sound longer. We've talked about how Y can change the sound. And we've talked about how P or K are used for that sound.
I don't know if you've ever seen.
We also looked at word families, and then we also mentioned about prefixes and stuff. So now we're going to have a look at some other things, maybe a little bit more difficult now, that can help us to get our spelling completely correct in English. So we are going to have a look at how we use IE or EI in order to give that E or similar sounds in English. Okay. So these are just some general rules. They're not always correct, but they are correct for most of the time. Alright. So in general, if we have I and E together, generally I comes before the letter E. So like we can see in the examples, believe, it is IE. Chief, it is IE. And review, it is IE as well.
It's too
But-
noisy. And
All right.
behind
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, no problem, no problem. It's a very busy room. All right. So, like we said there, then generally, if it is, generally it is I before E, but that's not always the rule. If it is E first, then after it we need to use EI. Okay. So like you can see here with stealing, it is EI because it comes after the letter P. Similar one here, it is EI because it comes after the letter C. And one more time, it is EI because it comes after the letter P. Okay, is that a little bit clearer?
Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Now, an extra rule on top of this is that E also comes before I if it gives us the sound that is similar to the letter A. So like A, neighbor, way. They all have that A sound.
I'll do it.
So in that situation, if those letters together give an A sound, you write it as EI.
I'll call you then tomorrow then.
EI. EI. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll call you then
Good.
tomorrow then.
All right. So if we look at these examples over here on the right, we can see that it is Chad is conceited about the bulging veins in his Ripley muscles. He believes that all the other people in the gym admire his great physique. So if we look here, it is EI because it comes after a C. So this fits this second rule that we have here. Okay. All right. Also, here for veins, it is EI because it has that A sound, vein, A. So if we have the A sound, it needs to be with EI. But in all other situations, it needs to be IE, and that fits the general rule here at the top. Okay, any questions? All right, so no questions there.
Sorry. No,
Oh,
yeah, no, it's okay. I need to practice. No question.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Thanks, Miriam. Okay. The other things to remember then, and I think you mentioned this earlier about plurals. Okay, so plurals can often cause some problems with spelling as well. So generally, plurals end with S. So we can say chicken, chickens, book, books, kite, and kites. They all have S at the end. Okay, but there are some exceptions to these rules. Okay, so in some situations we use ES when the end of the word has an S, has an SH, the letter X, the letter Z, or it has a ch sound. So if your word has an S or an SH or an X, a Z, or a ch at the end, you will need to add ES for a plural. So if we look at this example, we've got beach, beaches. That is because it has the ch at the end, so we need to add ES. The word fixed, fixes, it has an X at the end, so we need to add ES. And the last one, quiz, to quizzes. This has a Z at the end, so we need to add ES. Okay. So if we look at the example on the right, to finish is algebra problems. So problem is just a normal word, a normal plural, so we just add S. But the word glasses, this has an S at the end of the word here, glass. So in that situation, we need to add ES after. Okay, any questions there?
No.
No? All right, that's pretty clear. All right, but that's not the end of it because there are some extra rules with this one. Okay, now generally, if a word ends with a vowel and then an O, so remember vowels are any of those letters that are A, E, I, O, or U. So if the word ends with a vowel and then an O, we just add an S. Okay, so we got the example here of rodeo. It has E, which is a vowel, and then it has O, which is an O. Of course, in that situation, you just add an S. The same with duo. It has a vowel, the letter U, and it has a letter O. So this would be duos. You just add an S. But there is an opposite rule, because instead of it being a vowel O, if it is a consonant and then O, we add ES instead. So tomato, the last two letters, we've got T, which is a consonant. We've got O, so we would make it O and then ES after. The same with the word hero. The final two letters are consonant, R, then the letter O, so we have to make it O with an ES after. Okay, is that pretty clear?
Yeah.
All right, so that is then highlighted in the example on the right. So we've got the word radios. Okay, so radios, we have in the original word I-O, which is a vowel, and then an O, so we just add an S. Or tornadoes, we've got a D and then an O, so D is a consonant, and we've got O afterwards, so we just need to add ES to it. Okay, now, is that the only thing with plurals? No, there's one more, of course. Okay, so this is where it gets super difficult. Now, so let's look at the first kind of rule that we have here. So it tells us that many words that end in F or FE become plural with VES afterwards. So for the word leaf, because it has the F, we kind of remove the F and then add VES. The same with life, because it kind of has an F or an FE at the end. We remove the FE and then add VES. And the same for knife, it has FE, we remove that and we add the VES afterwards. But one more thing, in English, we always like exceptions to rules as well. If the word ends in FF or FFE, you just add an S to the end. So knockoff has just double F at the end, so it is FFS. Giraffe has FFE at the end, so you only add an S to it. Phew. All right. So these ones are a little bit more difficult to remember. They are more obscure, these ones. So let's go through the example then. So we've got lives. So this has gone from a life, which ends in FE. So we remove the FE and we add VES.
Nice.
We've got giraffes. So giraffe ends in FFE. So we only need to add an S to it. And then we have leaves. It finishes with an F, the original word leaf. So we remove the F and add VES. Okay, crystal clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, all right, so we'll try to remember those ones. So luckily, that is the end of plurals. Okay. Now, we mentioned the final Y before, so we're just going to mention that a little bit more now. Okay, so again, if our word finishes with a consonant and then a Y, normally we change the Y to an I when we're adding one of our suffixes. So easy becomes easily by removing the Y and ending the suffix ILY. 50 follows a similar rule. We remove the Y and then make it IETH. And for sky, again, we remove the Y and we make it an I to add on our suffix, which is the plural form. Now, this is different when it finishes with a vowel and then a Y. Because if we have the example monkey, it finishes with an E, which is a vowel, and then a Y. In that situation, we just add S. The same with toy. It finishes with a vowel and then a Y. So O is a vowel, and then we have Y. In that situation, we only add the S on the end. Okay. So in the example here, we've got try. That is consonant Y. So we have removed the Y and then add I, and then we add our past tense. But for buy is with a vowel and then a final Y, so it just becomes S at the end. Okay. Still with me, Maria? Still okay?
Yes, 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 yes.
Good. We're making good progress. Okay. So I'm sure you should know these ones already. So generally,
Yeah.
if so we're going to have a look at now at the final E in some words. Okay, so if you look here, we've got hope, love, participate. They all finish with an E. Okay. When you add the suffix, generally, we change it, we lose the E, and then we add the ing on at the end. So we've gone from hope with an E to hoping with no E, and then ing after. The same with love, and the same with participate. We remove the E and add ing to it.
What I'd say.
Okay.
Check
If our suffix begins with a consonant, so here, like our suffix is li, begins with L. With amusement, our suffix is ment, and that begins with M, which is a consonant. And hopeful, full, is our suffix, and that begins with a consonant. So if the suffix begins with a consonant, we keep the E from before. So love with an E becomes lovely with an E. Amuse with an E becomes amusement. We keep the E. And hope with an E becomes hopeful. Again, keeping the E. Easy peasy?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so it might take you a couple of times. You might need to watch this video back again to thoroughly understand it. But for now, it seems like we're doing well.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes we need to double the final letter. I think we had it a little bit earlier on before. I think it was quizzes. Quiz has one Z, but quizzes has double Z. So sometimes we need to double that consonant. Okay, so here we've got the word sad, we've got the word swim and skin, and then when we're changing them later on, they have double letters. So it is sad with one D becomes sad with two Ds. Swim with one M becomes swimming with two M's, and then skin becomes skinny again with double letters here. All right, so we're going to have a look at the reasons for this now then. So if you have a one-syllable word like sad, swim, skin, this is a one-syllable word. And if the last two letters are a vowel and a consonant, so A is a vowel, I is a vowel, I is a vowel, and then a consonant, D, M, N, in that situation, we double the letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, in a similar situation, if it is a multi-syllable word, so it has 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, however many syllables, and then still it has a vowel and a consonant. Okay, so here, like admit, we've got vowel consonant, begin, vowel consonant, forbid, vowel consonant. So if that's how it's set up, it's a multi-syllable word, it has a vowel consonant at the end, and the stress is on the last syllable of the word. So admit, begin, forbid. If it follows all of those rules, then again, we double the letter. Okay. So, yeah.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, go ahead, Maria.
Maybe when we have a verb, we can the accent is in the last part of a word.
Generally, yeah. Generally, yeah, that's how it works. Like record, import, Yeah, yeah. So that's
And maybe,
bad.
yeah, maybe then we
Yeah.
need to use the double letter.
In some situations, yes, but only if the last two letter is a vowel and then a consonant.
Yeah, yeah. If,
All right. Okay,
yeah.
good. I like.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. But I'm glad that you noticed that pattern there. For verbs, generally it is on the last syllable. Yeah, good. All right, so we are very nearly finished now. So you can see the example. Yeah, so stepped has vowel consonant. Slipped, ip is with vowel consonant. Regret has the same thing, vowel consonant, and spotted as well with vowel consonant. Good work. All right, so we're gonna quickly finish off with a little test. Okay. So in this situation, we just need to decide here if we need to make any changes with the spelling or if no change is necessary. So for example, we got hungry. Is hungry spelled correctly here?
Yes.
Okay. Is definitely spelled correctly?
Uh,
What do you think? Is
yes.
definitely. Okay,
Yes.
good. And the last one, fueling, is that spelled correctly?
Feeling.
Fueling, like you're putting fuel in a car.
No, only one L.
You think only one L? Well, the answer here is we don't need to change any of them.
No.
So
Okay.
fueling is correct because it has, like we said, the consonant and then vowel. No, sorry, the other way, vowel then consonant. Yeah, like
Yeah.
E-L in fuel. So you needed to have the double L. Okay. All right. Question number 2. So we got the word successful here. So should we change it to A, B, or C, or do we not change it?
We leave it like that.
Okay, we leave it like that, you think?
Yes.
Well, B should be the answer here, successful, because if we go back before, well, we need to go back a lot of full, it only has one L at the end. The suffix, anyway. Okay. All right, so let's come back. So, yeah, so it should be successful there. It is the B one. Okay, so for number 3 here, do we need to change A or B or C or not change anything?
Hoped we need to add P.
Well, remember in English, we do have the word hoped and we do have the word hopped, and they are separate words. So I can tell you, for this one, the incorrect answer is B, because we've got spell, as in to write a word correctly. And miss means that something is wrong, so it would have to be misspell. Miss is your prefix, and then you have spelling. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so in this one, do we need to change A, B, or C, or do we change nothing?
Uh,
Are you gonna put the not in again?
maybe the B will be correct answer.
Well, you're kind of right. In American English, they do have a different spelling of jewelry, which is similar to this one. But the one that we needed to change was actually A. So thieves should be I before E. Okay. Right, on to number 5. Okay, what do you think should be the answer
I think the C is correct.
here? Okay. Well, what it should be here is that no change is needed. In C, this is kind of busyness. So this isn't really a word in English. So busy would come from Business would be like this, from busy. So it's only one S.
Yeah.
All right, number 6. So we've got separate. So should it be A, B, or C, or no change?
No change. No.
You
Sep-
think no
separate.
change? Ooh.
No. Many mistakes. No,
Uh-huh.
no. I think no. Don't need to add B. Do need. It is the A.
It is the A. Very good. Very
Only
good.
one.
Okay. No, well, you know, 1 is better than 0. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Ooh, this is where it gets difficult. So,
Mm.
do we need to change A, recommends? Do we need to change B, studying? Or do we need to change C, expensive? Or do we need to change nothing?
I think the B we change.
All right. Very good. Yeah. So studying should be Y and then ing. Okay. So now we've got the words that looks like possessed. But do we need to change it to something, or do we not make any changes?
No change. Mistake again.
Oh, okay. I will tell you that you do need to change one of them. So, sorry, you do need to change it. So do you think it could be A, B, or C?
Okay, we'll give it about 5 minutes. I'm still waiting off the student.
Yeah.
So the correct answer should be C.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
just think there's
Possessed.
yeah.
Okay.
Too many
Or-
S's.
I know. Yeah, it's so for this one, we do need to quickly finish in a second. So for this one, we needed to change it from potato with OE to just potato with just
Yes,
AO.
yeah.
Number 10, if you have a look here, wishes is spelled incorrectly. We don't have 2
Yeah.
S's in wishes. Okay. And then for number 11, we've got
So, yeah,
unnecessary, and this is correct.
There's
and we don't need to change.
Probably for 5 minutes.
All right, and then number 12, embarrasses, we need to have double R. So it should be the C version there. All right, so we're going to finish up there. So remember, always you can access our YouTube channel through the QR code. And if you do need any help at all, you will find our email address there on screen, and we can help you with many things connected to English support. And remember, it is free, so please get in touch. So thank you, Maria, and thank you
Thank you.
everybody else for watching.